Good morning, everyone. Renee Funk with the Funk Collection, brokered by eXp Realty, coming to you with Fridays with the Funk Collection live. And oh my goodness, first of all, I'm really excited to share a conversation with our guest today. And we've both decided it's going to include caffeine because, well, some mornings call for extra caffeine, and today's one of those mornings. Justin Adams, welcome.
Thank you
How are
so much for having me.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Halfway through my caffeine already.
I,
Hope I won't need a second cup soon. How are you?
this is my first cup, but in full transparency, I was sharing with you when we were in the green room that I slept from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. because I took a red eye home from Vegas where I was at Inman. And can we just start off this conversation with the amazing news that came out of yesterday?
Yes, please. I was fascinated by your stories on your social platform. I was following you all day long. So,
Well, I was just beside myself when I found out. Amazing Inman conference, of course. Always great, great, great community, great connection. eXp Realty, our brokerage, earned the 2021 Inman Innovator Brokerage Award. Oh my gosh.
it's it's so insane, but so believable.
And also, not a shocker, but really, really, really grateful to hear the news because, of course, like that's a huge honor. And I was just so excited. I ran into Jen Van Berklio in the hallway and she said, "Can you believe this?" And I said, "Yes, I can, but it's still a great honor. It's really nice to be recognized in that way when we from the inside can see how innovative our brokerage is and how much the brokerage is doing to help us all broker deals at a much higher level."
Yes. Yes, that's one of the biggest things I always think about, and it's like just getting someone to see it. So the accolades are great. We all know it, like you said, but to finally get that, accolade was amazing yesterday.
So, Justin, tell us about yourself and your business. Give us the goods.
The goods. Should we
Yeah.
start from the beginning? Well,
Well, I was born on. No.
well, I mean, I do like to start out with I am originally from Italy. So, for those who don't know me, my father served in the Navy and he met my mom over in Italy. It's a romantic story. Had me, but then he was asked to serve in Desert Storm that was going on in the 90s. So, we just stayed in Italy until I was about 9. Then we moved to Florida and fast forward to me being in Orlando, I came down here to attend UCF and graduated from there with a marketing degree. And actually, I was inducted into the professional selling program at the time. That was in 2012, I believe. Um, but the job market was not the greatest. So I went back to Publix as a cashier because I'm humble enough to know, hey, you got to start somewhere. Yeah, even if you have a degree, you don't have a degree, I don't judge. You need to move forward any way you can. Moved up very, very quickly. I was actually shocked how fast I was promoted because it takes a good bit of time. And I was also shocked when I put in my 2 weeks retirement notice when I joined real estate. 3 years. It'll be 3 years. I cannot believe it. This December.
Yay. Oh
I
my
cannot
goodness.
believe it.
I don't know how that has just gone by in a blink of an eye. And you mentioned something. So, well, let's unpack the 3-year anniversary. I want to go there. But you
Sure.
mentioned something a moment ago that some may not realize the significance of. And you mentioned Publix in your background at Publix.
Hmm.
And that if those who are watching are from Central Florida and from the regions where Publix exists, Publix is a grocery store that is known for incredible, quite frankly, in my opinion, the best of the best service, right? Like Publix is the grocery store I go to always. I've been in Florida 20 years. And you know what? You can see and feel the difference of the service that they provide. And it's one of the very few places I go to. When you go to the deli counter, they know who you are. When you go to the bakery, they have made my children's birthday cakes. Like they know our family. there's not a lot of places that are still like that in the service industry that we as consumers frequent, especially in a day and age where, everything's online. And I admittedly do a lot of online grocery delivery, but still, when you go into Publix, the level of service and the way that you're treated as a customer is a massive differentiator for them. And I like to bring that out because one of your amazing traits and differentiators clearly is the way you weave in your service and the care that you handle your customers with. And you have been that way since day one, and it has never changed for the 3 years that I've known you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. It's when I reflect back on my time at Publix, it's like it prepared me on a platter to do what I'm doing today.
Yeah.
The way I execute with my clients, if I used to always joke, if a company can have a 15-year-old treat customers the way they do at Publix, then they're doing customer service right. I mean,
that's a good point.
Think about it. They're so young.
That's a good point.
And being in Orlando, we have Disney World too. And as I progressed, and before I retired, I was an assistant store manager. And I remember most of the people that I would hire in would be from Disney. So that service level, both coming from Florida, I'm just saying it's a big deal.
It is a big deal. And you bring up Walt Disney World. I agree with you. When it comes to service, there are two huge players in the Central Florida economy that base a business on service, right? And I know Walt Disney World is much more than service. However, one of the reasons we all love Walt Disney World is because of the way they make us feel. And that is the common thread that's with Publix. I love Publix. And quite frankly, it's a premium to shop at Publix. I love Publix because of the way they make me feel. They make me feel heard. They make me feel important. They make me feel like they're here to meet needs for me as someone who's coming in to be a consumer in their store. And all of those things are super important. When you first came into real estate and we first met, I said, you are going to do big things, because if you do not turn your back on that, which of course you wouldn't, it's in your fabric of who you are, and you lean into that service, it is one of your biggest differentiators.
It's so funny. I still remember our first conversation. It's funny you mentioned that. It's, when I started, I'm definitely a doer. So I would say that's a strength of mine. My parents sometimes thought it was an opportunity. But, I'm one of those people, like, I know what I want, if I just go after it, so for me to leave something of 6 years that I was doing very well at, but I had this passion that was just tugging on me to join real estate. I had a lot of friends from Publix leave Publix, join real estate. They were massively successful, and so are to this day. Again, goes back to the customer service aspect. But when I joined my first brokerage, it was a local boutique brokerage, and within 6 months I was gone. And this is not to talk ill about the brokerage. There's obviously a good fit for everyone in a different place. The minute I stepped into EXP and I had my first conversation with Ben and you, it was that culture that I was craving that I had at Publix, but just transferred into real estate. And my business completely took a turn. I mean, yes, I know I was only 6 months in, but I mean, it was starting to churn and burn, for lack of better terminology there. And it was literally because I felt so supported. It was genuine. It was authentic. So culture has a lot to do with it. It really, really does. And it was instant, Renee. I mean, I still can't thank you enough till this day. Really cannot.
Well, this is teamwork, friend. This is everyone coming together with a common focus on that North Star, and we're all heading in the right direction. You and I think, clicked very early on, and I've always had such a special place in my heart for you because of the way we both come from service. And I always love my conversations with you. It is somehow coincidentally centered around how we can elevate the way that we are treating our customers and what we can do. And that's just a passion that comes out from you that is so appreciated. So let's talk about Orlando real estate. Let's talk about tell everyone a little bit about the trajectory of your last 3 years. How's your business been going? What are you seeing in the industry? Like, put it all out there, Justin.
Sure, sure.
No pressure. We're putting you on the hot seat.
No, not at all. I'll be back. Just kidding. No, so the first year it can be a little intimidating, overwhelming, and it's okay. As long as you have that passion. It's like with any other I hate to use the word job because I don't even consider this a job. It's a lifestyle. Anything's scary at the beginning. So my first year, you get thrown all these statistics like, 80% of realtors don't make it after the first year, which scared the heck out of me. I was like, oh, what did I do?
It should have.
Yeah, well, it did in a positive way,
Yep.
because it definitely lit a fire. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not getting a steady paycheck every week anymore. So I have a son I'm watching after, and I have 2 beagle pups. So It's like, I've got to make money. But so hearing that statistic always blew me away. And so, my first year, I helped about 7 clients get under contract. I had 1 listing. It's something I always wanted to kind of work towards, was listing homes. It was just a goal that I had set my first year. I didn't know the why, like my internal why quite just yet. I was finding my oats. So, the first year I had 7 closings, and I was like, all right, hey, I made it past the statistics. Now I need to find that right brokerage that just feels right. The culture is good. The support system is there. Collaboration, huge.
Yes. That's right.
Yes. Technology to me had to be like an innovator of the year.
Right.
And it's funny. You can literally see, I have a spreadsheet, that Ben Lobby actually set up for me when I first joined. Just like, here, just plug these numbers in, and this is going to be so great for you.
Cheers to Ben, by the way. You've mentioned him twice, so cheers.
So,
shout out
there
to
you
Ben.
go. Yeah.
Ben Lobby in Orlando. Yes.
I love him. That's where you embrace your shortcomings. He's such a system person, and I'm grateful for it. So anyhow, when I look at my spreadsheet, it's so evident to see when I made the transition from my previous brokerage to EXP. Because I will tell you, in my second year, I went up 59% in my sales.
Fantastic.
And now I haven't even finished on my third year, and I'm already up 115%.
Woohoo! I love it. I love it.
It gives me goosebumps even saying that, because so often I just think, no one, and in my opinion, no one's out there looking for, oh, I need someone to sell me a home because of EXP or anything.
Right.
We know it's a great company internally.
Right.
We know what we can offer our customers and our clients because of everything. They're all about the agents, which then trickles down to our customers, so we know that.
Yes.
But I have to pay homage to EXP and all the leadership. It's just, it has driven me to a place to think, to self-reflect, to understand my strengths, and finally figured out my why. So.
Well, you've said it twice now, so then I have to ask. You mentioned your why. And before I ask, I will say you've mentioned about your why twice, and I love that you've gone through the exercise. And for those watching, if you haven't gone through an exercise to really sit down and reflect and ask the question, what is driving me? What is my why that's fueling the decisions I'm making, especially as a business owner and entrepreneur, which we in the real estate industry are? It's really critical to go through the exercise. But I also want to give everybody a little extra grace, because you don't have to have all the answers. And it doesn't have to be some massive, prolific, seas parting answer, because I even raise my hand and say, I've been guilty at that. One of my mentors just recently asked me a question that like rocked me to my core, because he said, "What are you building?" And what are you building is very similar to, well, what's your why, right? What's driving you, Justin Adams? And so those watching know that your why, and when you start to define the direction and the item at the core that's really inspiring you, it doesn't have to stay the same. And it doesn't have to be this massive, like, oh, it can be what, what is making you skip to work each day. So I just wanted to share that. I'm proud of you that you've worked through and articulated. Know that it can iterate, and it should. What might be the why now doesn't always have to be the same. So I'm going to put you on the hot seat again.
Okay.
What is your why?
So I'm glad you mentioned that it's ever evolving, because you were actually the one that made me think about, on one of our many conversations we had, about the why. And it's, I think the problem for me specifically coming up with the why was I felt selfish in a way when I was writing, just doing the exercise, kind of writing through, what makes me tick, what really makes me feel good. And I'm like, that sounds so selfish, but it's what drives you,
Mhm.
So this is the beginning stages of my why. I will tell you that I
That's
am excited
good.
to watch it evolve. But for me, I realized I love being able to look up to my mentors. So someone like yourself, or well, I have a couple other mentors as well that I look up to, obviously. But you know, my why is I want to be able to leave a legacy behind that, almost to the sense where if someone wrote an autobiography, when someone were to write an autobiography about my life, that it would inspire people to go out there and do what they genuinely love to do without comparing themselves to anybody else, being confident within themselves, and just do it. Just do it. So it's for me, honestly, it's about leaving that legacy behind and being that inspirational person to the masses. I would say that's
I
the
love
big
it.
goal.
I
So
love it. I love
yeah.
it. And you're already in motion, and we see that in the direction you're heading, and in the way that you navigate your real estate business. Because what we haven't mentioned is, not only in the 3-year journey that you've had in real estate have you had amazing trajectory and growth, and you're serving home buyers and sellers now. Spoke recently, you said, oh my gosh, I'm earning more listings, which is fantastic. You've become a certified mentor within eXp Realty, which is a very, very important role, a needed role, and a
Yes.
noble servant leader role, because you're giving back to your realtor community and sharing the wisdom that you're gaining. That's huge. So you are already starting, you're already in the right path to stand behind what you just shared.
If I could piggyback off of that, becoming a certified mentor has been such a great journey for me. I've learned a lot from my mentees, even them being brand new. Um, but I felt a duty, because when I came into EXP, I already had, you know, sales under my belt. So I didn't go through the mentor program.
Right.
But I almost felt like for me personally, I didn't need it, because I had our family, our expansion family that we have. We're
Yeah.
so close. We're there for each other. I could call anyone. Someone will be available to help, So I said, well, let me take this a step further now and pay it forward, and do it with new agents, because I do work with a lot of first time home buyers, and it's definitely my niche. And the reason is because I do love to educate a lot.
Mhm.
And I find first time homebuyers know absolutely nothing about the process. They're so scared. They're so scared. So I want to be able to take that terrifying situation and turn it into that positive experience that it should be, because it is a milestone, as we say. It's a huge investment. So to be able to be part of that journey with them really is there's no other feeling like that. But being a certified mentor for EXP has been, I think that's what started helping me carve out my why. right? Because now I don't need thank yous. I don't need any of that. It's nice to hear, of course. We all want to be thanked from time to time, but it's, when they write me back, they're like, thank you so much for doing this. I couldn't have done it without you. And I said, you could have. I was just there to guide you, at the end of the day. So it feels good to give back, because you all did so much for me when I first started, that now to be able to do this in an actual certified role, where I can actually give them something tangible to work on, work towards, and we can monitor their progress. It's really been a beautiful thing. And I have my first mentee graduating next week.
Oh my goodness.
So
Congratulations. Which
yes,
mentee?
Kiana Frederick.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Yes.
congratulations to Kiana and congratulations to you. That's a big milestone and that's something for you both to be proud of. That's
Yes. Shout out to
amazing.
Kiana.
I love what you're sharing about cascading out and giving back. And it puts me in mind to a story that I always reflect on. And it was a mentor of Jeff and mine, who's still in our life and he's still so blessed that he is around and sharing his wisdom. It was a few years ago when I was on a call with, this is one of my mentors, and I said, gosh, you've just been there to really share all of the amazing things and give back to us in such a big way. I never know how I can repay you. And he said, you are, you are repaying me. The key is that you are cascading it out to others. And he said it. And of course, oh my gosh, that's an amazing, beautiful thing that you're sharing with me. And I hear it, I absorb it, but I don't really know if I truly felt it and understood what it meant, because I still feel that we've been so lucky, I'm with you, that we have great mentors. We have amazing mentors in our life. And then fast forward a couple months later, one of our agents came to me and was on a call and said, Renee, how can I ever repay you? You and Jeff are, you're mentoring me. You've been so great. And it was almost the same exact thing, verbatim, that I had said to my mentor. And I had to stop on the call and I almost cried because it was in that moment, just the way it was worded. And I was in a space that I could fully absorb it and understand. And it was full circle. And I just said, you are repaying because you're sharing it with others. And so this full circle moment came and it really shined a light on. We are here to authentically collaborate with everyone in our brokerage. We are even rewarded for doing so in ways that are massive and wonderful. But the neatest thing is that we're in an environment of culture that we celebrate other people's success.
Yes.
And the success of others is not in a threat way. It's not that we keep everything close to cuff. We want to see others succeed. When you succeed, we all succeed. And I just think it's so awesome to hear you say that. And it's another full circle moment. I love seeing you grow. And I love seeing the way you're thriving and sharing it with others. That's what it's all about.
Well, I appreciate it. It reminds me of, real quickly. So I'm very big on social media, as you know, and
my teenager reminds me. Have I shared that with you before about your social media platforms?
I think briefly,
Sam.
but
So my
yes.
teenager, Sam, who's 15, shout out to Sam. Sam follows you across nearly every platform. Sam's not on LinkedIn yet, but he always comes home and he'll be like, you know who's doing social media right? Justin Adams. That's a big compliment coming from a teenager who's very
I'm turning red because
Yeah.
the teenager said that. I mean, it's because they know how, let's be honest, they understand everything. And it took me a little bit to learn. So.
Well, you're getting kudos from Sam. Sam says Justin Adams got it going on social media. Everybody watching, make sure you're following Justin.
Yes. Thank you, Sam. Yeah, it's really been about understanding what it comes down to, the why. It's that full circle thing. I really enjoy promoting local businesses, giving value to the community, giving value without expecting anything in return. It's just, let me, and I'm going to take it a step further. Next year, one of my biggest goals is to have a business of the month and do a video with them. So I'm really excited about this project I'm working on. It's going to be different than just like an interview type thing. We're going to try to make it very, well, I don't want to give too much away, but I'm very excited. I'm excited for the local businesses that are really wanting to collaborate with this. But to go back to what you were saying about, you know, how EXP, we're all about collaboration and we put our minds together because everyone's different, right? I may not be a systems person, a numbers person, but there's someone in our group that is.
Yeah.
And then we meet together and we help each other out in those situations. And I remember posting something on social media, and this is when I was just getting started, and it was real estate based. And someone had wrote the comments, because you can't, obviously, you know, you're going to have those people that are going to comment something that disagrees with you. And they're like, first rule of business, do not give away all your cards. And so I private messaged him and I just said, with all due respect, you know, I'm very confident that I will do my very best for my clients. I also work for a company where we all collaborate and we share ideas. We're not out to get each other. We're there to lift each other up. Yeah. And that's how I run my business. And that's the beauty of real estate entrepreneurship in general. You are the business owner, so you can run it whichever way you want. And let's be honest, it's obviously working for us. Innovator of the Year. We're reaching now, what, almost 70,000 agents at this point, 17 countries. I mean, 2.5 years ago when I started, I went to EXPCon 2 weeks after joining EXP. And I was like, oh man, I'm spending all this money. What I do? I've never been to a seminar before. Blew me away. But we had announced Canada, UK, and Australia. And we were 24,000
I think that's
agents.
when we announced health insurance too. I think
yes.
that was when health insurance was unveiled, which is massive. Oh my gosh.
Who else has that?
Not at all to the degree that we do. Our family is just one example. We're saving about $750 a month for a family of 4. Everybody's different. You got to go through call them up. Sure. They'll give you a quote, stay, go, don't choose it, whatever. But I'm hearing more and more stories over, especially the last 2 years, of all of the opportunities. That's a huge raise. When you can save on healthcare alone, that's like a built-in raise. Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm saving, I think it was when I spoke with the rep, it was about 400 and something. I mean, it's insane what I was paying before. I'm not even going to say it, but you know, I have an 11-year-old. We have to make sure we're healthy. So the fact that EXP, you know, gives us that opportunity, it's just keep on adding it to the list for me. Honestly, it's so much. I'm so grateful. I
want to go back, since you've said it here, and this is a really great form of accountability. I love that you are bringing your social media to the next level. As I was mentioning to everybody watching, Justin has great social media platforms. Follow him on LinkedIn, Instagram, all the places. I'm glad to hear you're bringing it to video though. And now you've said it. So that means we're all holding you accountable. When will we start to see this new initiative of highlighting businesses and integrating more video into your social, Justin Adams?
First week of January. Okay, I already have the first business. I actually have the first 2 businesses. So one for January, one for February. I will continue to do a business of the week in a non-video format. But I have this amazing mentor that has, taught me the importance of video, because people need to know you. People want to know you. And it's sometimes very hard to see that through, a platform, even though, and it's not all about followers, by the way, but, my Instagram went from 50 to, I think today I'm at 5,200, which I never thought would be possible.
I didn't realize that. That's bonkers. In what time period?
So at the beginning of this year, I think I was just under 2,000, and I set my goal for 4,000 by the end of this year. And again, it's not all about followers, but for me, it's being able to reach out, because I do so much content for the community. Right. I still do my real estate content. I keep it about an 80-20, the whole 80-20 rule. But that's really why I wanted more followers, to give the platform also for giving the value to the local businesses. So it's just insane what it's grown to. But I know video is very important. You've definitely opened my eyes to it. I was petrified of hearing my own voice.
You don't
And
have to
seeing
listen.
myself.
You don't
I
have to
know.
listen. Don't watch
I
it
know.
back. I don't
I
watch it
know.
back.
I know. And you're very inspirational just to watch because you're so natural at it. And that actually makes my point. You get to know you. People
Mhm.
need to know the real you. And what's the best way is video. I mean, it's almost common sense, but it just takes a little bit for, sometimes to let things sink in. So
Well, I don't need to remind you, but I will, because you know me, video works when you are sleeping, right? So
yes.
what you're doing is putting out a medium that will compound over time in ways that it still surprises me. I love hearing your Instagram numbers. So I'm on a newer journey on Instagram. Admittedly, I did not get into the Instagram game until very, very late. In fact, I turned my profile on Instagram from private to public summer of 2020, June of 2020. And I
Hmm.
think at that time I had around 300. You're kicking my butt though, because I think I might be crossing 2,600 in a little over a year. But that's amazing, and that is another testament, because you're showcasing businesses, because you're giving back, coming from contribution. That is what it's all about. Coming from contribution. And I love the 80-20 rule for those who may not realize. Justin is making sure that he has contribution content about 80% of the time with no ask. And then the other 20% is related to, I'm guessing, if you have listings, real
Hmm.
estate related information where there could be an ask in there. And when I say ask, I mean, I'm selling something, right? And that's
Sure.
a really great ratio.
Yeah, I think it's very important, like you said. Not asking for anything in return is huge. People can see that. Unfortunately, and this is not to judge anyone on it, but I see too many real estate agents post only real estate all through their page. And the way someone mentioned to me, specifically with Instagram, it's almost like a canvas. So when you
Mhm.
open someone's page, it's very important to kind of have your branding. Now, what is branding? It's not just, yes, color schemes and all that stuff, but also it really showcases who you are as a person. So if they're looking through and they're seeing, local business of the week, fun weekly events, click here. And prior to COVID, I'd stopped it for last year. I'm actually getting ready to set that back up. I was working on a blog where every Friday I would have Orlando events. People
Yeah.
could click on my blog and they could just, if you had to purchase tickets, I mean, they didn't have to do anything, but just click, 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 done. And then when it comes to real estate, yes, listing, I'm doing that for my customers too, to promote their home because I have a job to do, right, for them.
Right.
And then the reviews to me have a special place in my heart because literally cry every time I get one. It's a story being told. It's I can't. I'm not even going to look on the camera because I'm already tearing up about it. Because the most
Oh,
recent one about how I had this client who literally had this home since he was a child, and his parents are no longer here, and it was very hard for him to get to sell it, and he just wrote the most beautiful review, and I was just like, this is why I do what I do. It's amazing. It really is
isn't it?
amazing. It's a lot of work, but you have to learn to make it fun. You and I talked a lot about that.
Core
Um,
value fun is important. Fun for
yes,
the buyers and sellers too, though.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Oh my gosh, we have so many laughs. There's time for business. There's time for I mean, it's just I cannot express how grateful I am that here I am at the end of year 3 with an amazing mentor, with amazing collaborative partners in the industry, and I'm able to track my growth. I couldn't ask for anything more.
Well, yes, you can.
True, true.
You can.
It's like one of those sayings.
Yeah, I give you permission to think bigger and ask for more. It's okay. Ask the universe for more. And especially the way that you operate your business as a servant leader, because you're not just asking for more, you're doing so in a way that's giving back. And I love that. All right, so business planning for next year, it's going on now, right? All of our real estate agents, we're talking about 2022 and mapping everything out, getting everything tidied up. What does 2022 look like for Justin Adams? real estate business?
So I'm just in the beginning stages of it. I'm going to be sitting down with my mentees so we can work together on this.
Yeah.
If there's something I've definitely learned, I think I'm going to put a little bit more focus on my personal life, which includes my family.
Yeah.
Having family overseas, not being able to see them the last year and a half because of what's been going on in the world. I've realized I'm a hard worker. I've always been, I got a job behind my mother's back when I was 16. As soon as I could drive, she did not want me to work. And I literally drove to Tommy Hilfiger at the time.
I did not know this about you.
She's going to be watching this, like, darn it. But
how old were you?
I was 16. So I just got my driver's license. I knew Black Friday was coming up. I knew they were going to do mass hiring. So I got hired for that. To be a bagger, I had to be there at 4 a.m. the day after Thanksgiving to bag at a retail store.
Okay, this is killing me. I've never in my life heard anybody say that when I was a teenager, I went behind my parents' back to get a job. Like, how rebellious of you, Justin Adams.
No, strange, isn't it? I've always been that person to, I always wanted to be able to support myself. I respect my parents so much, so much. They've done a lot for me. For my mother to come to this country and barely know the language at the time and stay here because of us to give us more opportunity. I always said I wanted, and they're well off and my dad's very successful and all, but, I still wanted to do it on my own. And it came from a very young age. I don't know if it's just in my blood or what it was, but I got in trouble literally for getting a job. In her defense, she thought it was going to affect my grades. But I showed her, I said, look, if it starts to affect my grades, I will leave. I kept my grades up and they offered me, well, not full time because I was a minor at the time, but they let the seasonal ones go and they kept 2 of us out of the 20 and I was one of them. I was like, see, I can handle both. So yeah, sorry, fun fact.
That is a first. That is awesome. I'm not surprised because I know you but I love this story. You should share that story more often. I love it. And thanks for sharing it here.
Yeah. I don't know what made me think about that. You see, you just have a way to bring things out of me. I haven't thought about that story in so long, and I'm sure I'm going to be getting a call from my mom in the next hour.
Tommy Hilfiger, what?
Yeah.
Hey, but I love your mom that she was focused on what's most important. And that was,
yes,
as long as your grades are at the forefront of priority, right? And that's,
right.
Oh my gosh, how awesome. That's a really great story. Well, how does everybody stay in contact with you? Share your Instagram and all the things. I really encourage everybody to follow you. And also, we're all going to be holding you accountable for that video, which is going to be, you said January 1. I don't know what day of the week that is.
The first week, whatever.
Okay.
So it's going to be the first Monday of January.
Okay, because I'm very specific as one of your mentors. When you say,
yes.
I'm like, okay, we're going to do it. Well, that's January 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so share with everybody how they can stay in touch with you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I am on Facebook. You can search my business page as Justin Adams PA. I have my personal page, Justin Adams. You can just search me on there. Instagram is JA_Orlando Real. YouTube is up and coming, so stay tuned for that one. I'm also on LinkedIn, so you can just search Justin Adams PA as well. And I am starting to dabble into TikTok. So it's a work in progress. I have to ask my 11-year-old a lot of times, how do I do this? But mainly right now, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn have been, my go-tos. So.
Well, I love to see your thriving business. I love the way you're operating your business. Jeff and I are both so very proud of you and really, really from our heart, grateful to be in business with you, Justin.
Thank you so much for having me, Renee. It's always such a pleasure speaking with you, and I will forever be grateful to have met you and Jeff both, and to be business partners with you. Sometimes I have to pinch myself, because I'm so thankful. And if I could just give one piece of advice to those out there who, are maybe new in the industry, because now being a mentor, just plug in, as you say. I get that from a mentor right here, Renee.
Oh yeah.
Plug in as much as you can. Be patient. You're not. Sometimes it doesn't happen right away. Do not compare yourself with everyone else. You are you. Be authentic, and stay humble. Because even if you're super successful, you still have more to learn. So that's it.
That is amazing share. I love it. You're spot on. You are spot on. And I've heard this saying, and I don't know who coined the saying first, so I have to just say unknown author, but it's patience with a sense of urgency. So I love that you remind everybody, yes, you have to have some patience, right? But patience with a sense of urgency, especially in this marketplace right now, is super important. I'm very bullish on new and newer agents right now. There's a lot of newer agents that are entering into the industry for the first time. And I have to say that those new and newer agents that are working with us are some of the most successful. And look at your growth trajectory. You've been blowing it out of the water. It's such an interesting time. So if you're out there and you're either considering getting into real estate, or you're in real estate and you're just not feeling like the puzzle pieces are all getting together, you need to contact Justin and you need to have that conversation, because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are already people doing it. That we're doing it, and we're doing it in a big way. And those that are out there know that you can just plug right in. Plug in, because you don't feel the power if you don't plug in.
Exactly.
Just saying.
So, and no pressure in that conversation either. We'll just have a chat, let's find out what's irking at you. Sometimes you just have to dig deep.
Well, thank you for joining me on Fridays with the Funk Collection. I appreciate you, Justin Adams, and we will see everybody next Friday. Take care.
Thank you so much, Renee.
Bye, Justin.